Ambassador Hackabee, thank you very much for having us again.
Thank you. Nice to be with you.
So, President Trump has repeatedly promised the Iranian people that help is on the way. By now, tens of thousands of innocent Iranians have been slaughtered. Where is the help?
It's on the way. And I think people need to remember President Trump is a person, when he makes a promise, he keeps it. He's made a lot of promises as president. He's kept them. And he will keep this one. When he does an action and what he does, only he knows. I'm not able to say, here's what he's going to do and here's when he's going to do it, because I don't know. But he does, and I'm confident that the president will keep his promise to the Iranian people. He's made it very clear that they need to stop the killing of their people, and they need to get over the idea of having a nuclear weapon. They're simply not going to have it. Now, if they keep going in this direction, then the president will act. I have no doubt about that. But would he like to see it end in a peaceful way, having the regime stop the slaughter of their people and openly and willingly give up nuclear aspirations? Of course he would. Everybody would be better off. But it's up to the Iranian regime to decide.
So, on a positive note, all the hostages, alive and deceased, are back in Israel, much thanks to the president and the administration. And now, according to the Trump outline, Hamas must disarm, but they show no intention to do so. Can we expect an ultimatum from the president to Hamas in the coming days or weeks?
I think he's given them the ultimatum. He's made it very clear they're not going to have any future in Gaza, and they're going to have to disarm. You know, people forget they actually signed the agreement and said they would do that. They also said they'd give all the hostages back. The hostages all came back, and that's a wonderful, blessed thing. The ceasefire is holding. There are many things to celebrate in the peace deal already, and it's a long way from its final fruition, but it has already changed the lives of people in Israel, without a doubt. But if Hamas thinks that they can wait out the president and that somehow they can keep their arms and that they will be able to have a future in ruling Gaza, they apparently have a hearing problem, and they did not hear the president when he explicitly said to them, you don't have a future in Gaza, and you are going to have to disarm. To take some things away from them, heavy weapons, but leave them with rifles, which are weapons of war. Those aren't police weapons, those are soldier weapons, weapons of a war. They're not going to be involved in a war. The president has made that clear. So the sooner they understand that, and the faster that they voluntarily disarm and aren't forced to have it taken from them, they'll be better off.
And so far we haven't seen on the ground much progress regarding the president's plan to evacuate and rebuild the Gaza Strip. Does the relocation plan still in effect? And are there any countries who have already agreed to take evacuees from the Gaza Strip?
I think there are some countries who are certainly considering it, but let's keep in mind the president, and for that matter, so the Prime Minister of Israel has made it very clear, nobody's going to be forced to vacate Gaza. Displacement is not going to be at the end of a gun. If people wish to leave, they're going to be given that opportunity if there's a place that they can go. But this idea that people are going to be marched out of Gaza and forced to leave, nobody has put that on the table. By the same token, you know, there's going to be a very difficult environment of living in Gaza for the next several years. It's not going to be rebuilt in a matter of months. There's a lot of effort being made, a lot of progress being made. I think it's quite remarkable that steps are being taken to move to that second phase and get it where there are better living conditions. But let's not kid ourselves. It's not going to be something that will happen in a very short period of time.
Okay, and in Syria, President Ashar's forces have been massacring ethnic minorities one after the other. They started with the Alawites, then the Druze, now the Kurds. We are all familiar with Abu Muhammad al-Jolani's own past. He was a senior terrorist in Al-Qaeda, then in ISIS. How can you trust such a person and such a regime to achieve valid agreements with them?
I think the jury is still out on how this plays out. Now that we're seeing the Kurds under attack, that's a problem for the U.S. because the Kurds have been a loyal friend and ally to the United States. So these are things that need to get resolved, and the quicker the better.
You have been serving as the ambassador for, I think, over 9 months now. You probably arrived with high expectations. Has the country and the position lived up to your expectations up until now?
In many ways, absolutely. It's been a remarkable, not quite full year yet. Of course, keep in mind, I've been here less than a year. I've been through 4 wars. I've also seen, however, some amazing things. I've seen all the hostages come home, every last one of them. I've seen the ceasefire that the president was able to broker, and it's held. For almost 4 months it's held, which means no one living in Israel, including me, has had to listen for the siren, rush to the shelter, get there in the 90 seconds that we have to go, and be kept from having a decent night's sleep because the missiles were still coming. But the big idea is one that both President Trump and Prime Minister Netanyahu share, and that is to go from the idea of aid to trade. Israel has become a very strong economy. It's stunning to me that it had GDP growth in a year in which they were at war with the Houthis, Hamas, and Hezbollah, and Iran, all in the same year, and they still had GDP growth. That's unheard of. So Israel is not in a position where it needs to come with its hands out to America and say, we need aid. Israel is coming now with the position of saying, let's trade. Let's do things that benefit both our countries, that are helpful to both of our security arrangements, both to our prosperity. President Trump loves that, and so does Prime Minister Netanyahu.
If the Supreme Court in Israel or the Attorney General take any action to remove him from office, what would you assume would be the administration and President Trump's response?
Well, I would never assume to know what the president would say or do. That's one thing that only he can be responsible for. Certainly, he has been very supportive of the Prime Minister through what he has himself experienced in the U.S., and that is attempts to destroy his administration by what we call in America lawfare. It's when if you don't win at the ballot box, you try to defeat your opponent in the courtroom. And so the president has been very outspoken on his feeling regarding that because he himself has been the recipient of it in the U.S. So it's on his mind. He thinks about it, and he feels like that when the people elect someone to lead them, then if the people decide that's not who they want, that's why you have elections. It's not why you necessarily have courtrooms. That's what the president has said repeatedly. He said it publicly. And so how this plays out, we won't get involved in trying to predict it or trying to direct it.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Enjoyed the visit with you. Thank you.